Hello, and welcome to the Alpha Male Podcast. The podcast where we talk about what it means to be a man the right way, with God at the center, made in His image, strong, dominant, and in control, and we don't apologize for it. We seek to be those kind of men, even in the midst of a perverse and emasculating culture. We seek to be those strong alpha males, dominant, in control, that we were created to be, and we don't apologize for that. So welcome to this virtual tribe, this podcasting place where we can get together and be men and not apologize for it. Usually I plug in a bio, but I'm not today. I'm gonna shoot from the hip. First and foremost, I'm a servant of God, made in His image, a Christian, and I don't apologize for it. Grew up fairly poor in the backwoods of the South, hunting and fishing and shooting. Joined the Marine Corps at 17, did a couple of combat tours in Iraq, after which I was an urban warfare instructor for the United States Marine Corps. Also served in the U.S. Army, both full-time and part-time, National Guard. I was a private contractor for a 3-letter government agency I won't specify. I've also been a sworn peace officer, a law enforcement officer for LAPD. Worked regular assignment and more specialized assignment. Started competition shooting even before joining the Marine Corps at 17. I've been blessed to win more shooting competitions than I can remember. FBI certified, NRA certified firearms instructor. Been a professional hunter and guide. I've slain all manner of beast and hunted all manner of beast and guided for all manner of beast. I've slain bear and wolf and elk. Everything from white-tailed deer on the East Coast and mule deer on the West Coast. And I don't apologize for that either, putting meat on the table. Been blessed to be the commander of a tactical team in a large metropolitan area where our primary job was to stop active shooters. What I am first and foremost, a servant of God, a follower of Jesus, a teacher, a preacher, and a fisher of men. Blessed be the Lord my rock, who trains my hands for war, my fingers for battle. With that, guys, let's get into today's episode. Now, as you may imagine, if you don't listen to the other podcast, Gunfighter Life, I've been a professional gunfighter most of my adult life. Shooting, marksmanship, whether it's rifle or handgun or many other disciplines, always comes down and back to the fundamentals, mastery of the fundamentals. A really, really outstanding shooter, a master of his craft, is one that's mastered the fundamentals. And generally, when one starts sucking, for lack of a more eloquent term, in shooting, it's not because they're messing up a super advanced skill, it's because they've gotten away from the basics and the fundamentals. I would challenge any great shooter, or anyone that wants to be a great shooter, that the time they start thinking they're too good, go back and focus on the fundamentals, is the time they start going downhill. Going back to the fundamentals time after time. It's easy for me to explain to you how to be a good shooter. It's a lifetime of discipline and repetition and endurance to become a master. Always going back to the fundamentals. So I was thinking about that in context of today's episode. What are the basics, the fundamentals of manliness? What are those? And they are many. We've done other episodes on, the 14 leadership traits and things like that. This is by far not a comprehensive, fully enclosed list of every trait and fundamental of being a man. Let's go over some of the ones I'd like to touch on today. Probably know where I'm going to start if you've listened for any amount of time, where you should always start with God. You are a man made in the image of God, the image and likeness. God made the heavens and the earth and the sea and all that is in them. He made everything in all creation, but he created you in his very own image. The thing it says, he made you in his very own image. And there's a lot that entails. So that is where we should start. Is God strong? Yes, God is the author of strength, and you are made in his image. What does David say to his son Solomon when he's to take over as king? Be strong and prove yourself a man. Now I'd like to take a minute and do a quick sidebar. Because there's a thing in today's culture where they say it's not good, or some people try and proclaim that it's not good to be strong and dominant as a man. They label it as some ridiculous thing like toxic masculinity. If masculinity is showing some of the attributes that are put into you, reflecting what you are. If you're truly being masculine, that's not toxic. If it's toxic, it's not masculine. So forget that garbage label right off the bat. Don't apologize for being strong. Rather, use your strength to make others strong. Don't apologize for being strong. Jesus, the perfect manifestation of God as a man here on earth, he never apologized for what he was. He was humble and obedient, humbled himself to the point of death on a cross, but he never apologized for who he was. He never denied who he was. He never apologized for being strong or being able to do the things that he could do. He didn't apologize for that. You don't apologize for being what you are. A man. Strong. God made man to have dominion, to have control. Don't apologize for that either, being strong and dominant and in control. I start a lot of the episodes like that for a good reason, because it seems like today's culture is trying to beat that out of men, but don't be beaten into submission. Be submissive to God and God alone, the only thing we're called to fear. But otherwise, you rise up, be strong, and have dominion, and be in control. Another two aspects I think today's culture are trying to get away from: men as protectors and providers. Protecting. Physically, being able to protect. We do whole episodes on, everyday carry and being able to, with whatever means necessary, to protect those around you who are weaker than you. If you're a strong, dominant alpha male, that comes with responsibility. The responsibility, the privilege to serve others by protecting them. Maybe and I was a police officer for a long time, maybe some police departments and some police officers have forgotten it. But there's a slogan that most police departments have: to protect and serve. That's also your calling as a man, I believe, to protect and serve those, if you're an alpha male, who are weaker and can't protect themselves. That could be physically in a very real way. That could be emotionally, being stronger emotionally. Being that strong foothold for others. A provider. Being able to put meat on the table. In good times or bad times. Whether that's just going to the store and buying food. Whether it's going out in the wilderness and slaying a beast and throwing it on the table. Whatever. However, you are called to have dominion over the beasts of the field. But in whatever circumstance, you are called to be able to provide. Does God not provide everything? Are you not made in his image? You're not called to provide for those as a man? For the other people you are called to provide for, and for the animals you're called to provide for and be a good steward of. Now, I don't care how much culture tries to today tell women that they don't need a man to provide and protect for them, or they don't want a man to provide and protect them. I don't care how much culture tells these women that. I think that can't change it deep down, whether they need it at the moment or not, that they crave, that they want a man that can protect and provide for them. Now, don't be prideful. Whatever you're given comes from God. If you have the ability to protect and provide, everything, the source of all good things initially is God. But I think no matter what cultural winds blow, women, deep down, look for those qualities in a man, one that can provide and protect for them. And I don't know who you are, and I don't know what your situation is. I'm very blessed to be married to a wonderful wife God has provided for me. But if you're out there looking for a woman, and that's the main focus, I would say, your focus always, first and foremost, even mine as a married man, your focus should always be first on God. Because He's the one that's going to provide you with the right woman. But second, focus on being able to provide and protect and be the kind of man a woman wants and craves and seeks and searches for, rather than having the main focus be on the woman. Next, we'll talk about strength. Strength. One of the things I try and pray for every morning from God, the author of strength, is for greater strength. But I don't start with physical strength. I end with it. I pray for greater strength, spirit, soul, mind, and body. For what good is great physical strength for a weak spirit? Strong in spirit, a strong spirit, a strong soul, a strong mind, and also a strong body. To he who has, more shall be given, Jesus says, and he will have in abundance. But to he who does not have, even what he has will be taken away. So when you have strength, when you've been given that gift, try and use it, mold it, and receive even more. Spirit, soul, mind, and body. A strong spirit, again, being that firm foothold for those around you who are weaker. Not using your strength like a bully to take advantage of others, but using your strength to serve others. Using your strength to serve God. Being strong in spirit, being strong in soul. Being able to stand up against injustice. Being able to stand up to persecution. Being able to stand up for the right thing when others around you are folding and cowering in fear. Like a beaten dog, you stand up like an alpha male. Strong. Spirit, soul, mind, and body. Endurance. Withstanding hardships. Delayed gratification. Nothing wrong with enjoying good things when it's the right time, but being able to push through hard times, being able to go through the desert, being able to face, with God at your side, the valley of the shadow of death and come through it. Endurance as a man, a quality I think used to be really valued, but today you seek this instant gratification, this one click on Amazon to have what you want shipped to your door. Delayed gratification. Going through hard times and becoming stronger in them. Just like physical strength is a good illustration of deeper things. Physical endurance. If you've ever run a race, if you've ever run a long distance, you know that it can suck in the middle. But you generally always feel good when it's over at the finish line, that you push through it and endure. Even so, with something else like an emotional trial or a emotional ordeal, when you push through it like a man and beat your feelings into submission, We have feelings. But as a man, you're called to have dominion. Don't be ruled by your feelings. I don't know if he came up with this, but one of my favorite living preachers in Singapore, Joseph Prince, he says, don't let your feelings determine how your day is going to be. Your feelings may not be based on reality. Going back to a physical example, sometimes I'll go to the gym and just feel like I'm just not into it, and I'll have some of my best lifts and do great. Your feelings have little to do with reality. Beat your feelings into submission. Make your feelings submit to you. Don't submit to them. Have endurance. Push through crappy, unhelpful, unreal feelings. You as a man, stay rooted on a firmer foundation, on the truth. Of course, you'll have feelings, but don't be ruled by them. Rule over them. A clear illustration of this, it is written, be angry and do not sin. Obviously, it must be okay to be angry because it says be angry, but it also says do not sin. It's okay to be angry, but don't let your anger drive you to sin. We are made in the image of God. It is written, God, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God. Jealousy is a real emotion, and sometimes it's the right emotion, but don't let your jealousy drive you to sin. Again, have dominion over as a man. Certainly over your actions, over your speech, what you say. Have control over your mouth, even control over your thoughts, the thoughts that you dwell on, the thoughts that you feed. Have control over that. Don't let them have control over you. And as we roll into the final attributes, humility, being humble. If you've ever read the Bible, likely you've read the Psalms, at least some of the Psalms. A lot of them are short sayings, the Psalms and the Proverbs. Well, years ago, a psalm came to me. I am because God made me. I have because God gave me. And I love because God first loved me. Whatever I have, not because I am good, it's because God chose to have mercy on me and gave it to me. I'll often say that and people will come back with, yeah, but you have to show up and do it, or you do it. But no, I don't. If I have any endurance, if I have any self-discipline, it's only because God gave it to me. He is the source of all good things. If I go to the gym, it's because God permitted me to go there. If I draw a single breath, it's because God put that breath in my lungs. If my heart beats one more time, it's because God allowed it. If another word comes out of my mouth, it's because God permits it. I only have what God gives me. So be humble. It is God who gives power to get wealth. Remember that. Just like Jesus didn't apologize for who he was, and he's the perfect manifestation, God as a man who walked here on earth. Our example that we should follow. He didn't apologize for who he was, and he was strong. And he was always in control. He voluntarily went to the cross because it was the right thing to do. When he was taken captive and was being led to the cross, he tells Pilate, you would have no power if it wasn't given to you from above. He didn't apologize for who he was. He didn't apologize for being powerful. He didn't apologize for telling the Pharisees they were wrong. It's never recorded that he apologized for driving out demons, or drowning a herd of swine, or making a whip of cords and pushing over money changers' temples and driving them out with a whip. It's never recorded that he apologized for any of that. But he was also humble and obedient, even to the point of death. You likewise, be strong, be powerful when it's called for, and be humble, and realize that all that you have is given and was a gift. Use it to serve. If you're given greater strength, again, don't use it to take advantage of others. Realize it for what it is, a gift. Use it to serve and love. Love God first and love your neighbor as yourself. Let us revisit the basics, the fundamentals of manliness. Be circumspect. As David tells his son, be strong and prove yourself a man. Consider for yourselves. Like I said, this is not an all-inclusive list of the basics of the fundamentals of manliness. What do you consider some of the fundamentals of manliness? What do you think? What is God calling you to be as a man? If you're lacking in any area, seek the source of all good things, the source of all aspects of good, healthy manliness. God, the giver. Ask and it will be given, seek and find, knock and it will be open. If you have questions, there's somebody who has all the answers. God, the all-wise, almighty creator of all things, the one who created you, the one who created man in his very own image. With that, I'm going to say thanks for listening. If you like this podcast, you may also like Gunfighter Life. If you're more into tactics and shooting and things like that, you can check out Gunfighter Life. If you care about the important stuff, you can check out Simple Man Sermons, the preachings of a simple man called by God to share the good news of Jesus Christ. You'll find all those at goodshepherdtraining.com. If you want to support, because these podcasts are free for you to listen to, and that's a great thing, but they're not free to produce and put out. So if you want to contribute, feel free to go to goodshepherdtraining.com, scroll down to the Patreon link, consider supporting for as little as $1 a month. If you have it in your heart to give. If not, don't feel guilty about it. If you want to support in other ways, you can like, subscribe, leave a review of the podcast. If you want to check out some pictures or things like that, again, go to goodshepherdtraining.com. You can also contact me on there. There's a way to contact me if you want to. goodshepherdtraining.com. With that, guys, as a thank you for staying tuned to the end of the episode, I'd like to throw in a little tactical tip. Here's a very practical tactical tip. If you listen for any amount of time to past episodes, you may realize that I like to watch and be ready as the Bible calls for. And I'm into what people would call, I guess, survivalism and all manner of things. But a lot of people that consider themselves survivalists are all into guns, and you may imagine I like guns and tactical things and body armor and this thing and that thing. Well, here's something that costs very little money and is very useful. All your important documents, your driver's license, your passport, any certifications you have, your wife's driver's license, contact information for family and relatives, things like that today are mostly digital. Just make a photocopy of them. Make 2 photocopies of them. Put one in your wife's car, put one in your car, or put one somewhere else at work in your desk. So if something happens, you'll have a backup copy of all that stuff. All it costs is the price of a few photocopies. Take that, back it up, and put it somewhere, a hard copy. If you have, a bug-out bag, a tactical bag, put a hard copy in there. That might come in far more handy than, your 5th fully loaded AR-15 magazine. I'm not telling you not to have guns and ammo. Obviously, from my bio, you can surmise that I like guns and ammo. But there may come a time when you need a copy of your passport or your birth certificate or social security card. And here's another practical but tactical tip. It's not going to keep out some super secret CIA operative, but that's not really what I'm worried about. If you need to write down an important number, let's say a bank account or routing number, something like that, just add a number to the front of it or add a number to every digit, like adding the number 7 to every digit. Or just adding a few numbers to the front and back of it, but do it in a manner that you'll remember. Take a number, like if you were born in January, add 01 to the beginning of your bank account number. And if you were born in 1984, add an 84 to the back of the numbers. If someone finds a number like that written on a piece of paper with no context, they're probably not going to realize, it's your bank account. And you can use that for all kinds of numbers. It's just a quick, easy code that people have been using for a long time. With that, guys, thanks for listening. Have a blessed day. Be strong and prove yourself a man.